Everybody!
Hello.
Hello.
We are live. Welcome to Into the Portal, a landmark discussion. Tonight we're going to talk about Landmark, not necessarily EverQuest Next. So, yeah, tonight we're joined by our lovely ladies, which I have your names on completely wrong. I have to fix that.
I thought you were going to change your mind about that we're lovely ladies. We're like, well, I don't know.
No, wait, you are still
That's
lovely
that.
ladies, but now you're Skyla's Locke and Stockus is now Locke, but then you're Skylatron, and I've really got to fix
Wait!
this. Sorry about that.
That's why my background's different.
Yes. Let's move Locke down to here, and then we'll move Skylatron up there. And then we'll move Stockus over here and rename Stockus to Ara.
I wish I was Stackus.
You do? It's
Yeah.
hot down
Do
there.
you?
It's hot enough here.
It's muggy. It's muggy. It's all right. It's getting to their winter soon, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And then
All
I
right,
can
what-
sit. I can just imagine him there in his little pants, just with a blanket around him. That's what.
Coda is wondering where Read the Question and Neuro is. Well, we don't know what happened to Tobran, and I still have no idea what happened to Neuro. So he's, I think Neuro's doing his own thing now, and which is cool. Good luck to him. And Tobran might have had gone into a diabetic coma because of Jaffa cakes, which is
Tobran has an unconventional sleeping method, which somehow it sometimes leaves him unreachable for days.
Yes.
I thought you were going to reference it.
So it'll be unlike
Unconventional
Tuesday,
diet
we'll get a
without
message on Skype from him, just going, "Oh, guys, I fell asleep for like 89 hours. I only meant to have a 5-minute nap." That's how he talks.
So, as you notice, Ara is looking at a different part of her house, and so that's why her camera is the way it is right now, guys, because
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
censorship thing.
There is,
Security.
right behind her-
I wouldn't want you to be able to identify the interior of my apartment.
that, and right behind her on her countertop is her social security number written out 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's
So,
sketchy as heck.
yeah.
I had to censor it.
so she has to censor it. So, there we go. And the chat's not working. Yes, this is great. This is pretty common, actually. What's going on with Twitch is they just globally banned Nightbot, and they've since fixed that. But it's not quite working yet. So give me a second. I'm going to go old school. But before we do that, let's go over what we do, how we do this here. Well, if you guys would just please leave questions in brackets. Just type in the word question in brackets, and we will try to answer them. Probably not going to be doing a huge, long show tonight. We're just going to go over some stuff. And then we'll talk about Landmark and all that kind of thing, and we'll get to it. All right. So, oh yeah, and then Meika, our super moderator who's in chat, we'll grab him and stick him into the call for us. I think next week we might try Google Hangouts because Skype has been just poo lately. So.
Is Skype? Skype is Skype.
Wait, Geekdomo, they have stopped Nightbot from entering rooms unless you donated to the maker? To Jesus
Really?
Christ? Or is that what you mean? Well, we'll have to figure that one out later. All right, so first topic of the evening. Let's talk about the punitive, pejorative nastiness that is becoming the standard for getting into games early.
Ooh.
Yes. What I'm referring to here is the way that Landmark, we paid $100 to get the Trailblazer pack, or you could have got what was it? Could you get in early with the other one? Explorer,
you
yeah,
can get it
yeah,
with-
To beta.
that's what I did.
right. To Alpha too,
No, to Alpha, and then Beta with Settler.
right. Settler was the last one you couldn't get into Alpha with. So
Yeah.
the oh, Unicorn is here now. Okay. So anyway, that was $100 or $50. Not so bad, doable. With the 50, it's kind of negligible whether or not the extra $50 was worth it. I don't know, 100% sure. But what's that?
60.
Oh, 60, 59. Yes, $60. But now I've noticed that ArcAge is $150 to get into their alpha. And of all things, Orcs Must Die is now coming to be a MOBA game, and Orcs Must Die is going to be $150 to get into the early access for Orcs Must Die.
What?
Say what?
For a free-to-play MOBA, not even an MMO,
No.
but a MOBA. Right.
No.
Discuss. You guys discuss. I will get this chat thing sorted.
This
I
is
got
part
this.
of a bigger problem.
Yes.
This is terrible. Okay, so my position with Arcade, and everyone's asking, why did you choose Arcade? And my main reason is because that model is absolute crap. Given that the game exists in Korea, it exists. It's a thing. It's a thing in Korea. This is not alpha. This is not a thing where we get to check things and like give feedback and like do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It exists already, and like they're charging $150 to just get in early. That is it. That is the only advantage. Well, I mean, okay, you get the extra stuff, and I get that, but like that stuff you can get. It's all stuff that you can get independently, isn't it?
Mm.
Like you could get it another way.
There are a few little trinket items like a cape and some other things. Plus, you get $65 of in-game goodies, and you get 3 months worth of subscription for it as well. So, after all said and done, it's like $120 worth of stuff you're prepaying for, whether or not you like the game or not, which is where my issue comes in. And then on top of that, you're paying maybe $50 or something, or no, you're paying $30 for the early access.
Like the bar to entry is so high.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason I'm not streaming it, I mean, I probably would have checked it out. If it was like $60, I probably would have checked it out. But the reason I'm not streaming it is even if I'm willing to pay the $150, or if, as a streamer I can get a copy or whatever, right. Even if I'm willing to pay that, that means that if anyone likes what they're seeing, they're like, oh, sweet, like, this looks so cool. Can I play with you, or can I, check this out? And you're like, yeah, well, $150.
For $150.
It's just like, I can't do that,
Is there a wipe at the end after Alpha's done? Like, you don't even keep... So you're making all of this progress for essentially no reason. You just get to do it again. And the questing in Arcade, to be fair, is kill 10 rats questing. So until level 30, you're just killing, and gathering.
Yes, the generic sort of questing. But it is a sandbox, so there's some of that element in there as well. But my issue isn't even so much if it's an MMO. This is my point. If it's an MMO, I think I'm a little bit more okay with it because MMOs are vast and big. And if you start off an MMO, most of you guys, I think all of you here, have done that. You get into a brand new MMO and it's swarming around. You're trying to kill a rat and there's 1,000 people and you're like, oh crap. So if I can skip that rat quest and I can go up the road about a mile and get to the next set of quests and I can do those right now. Then you have that huge advantage of other people who don't know that little trick. And so those little things in an MMO are great for when it just opens up the floodgates and everybody can get in. I can agree with that with an MMO. The things that I'm starting to get is if other games are starting to pick up this sort of pay us to be your alpha testers, it's just blowing my mind because Trendane used to be a tester at EA. And when he did that, he got paid $20,000, $30,000 a year, whatever the salary was at that time. And when that happened, that was his job and all that. But now we're paying them money to do the same thing that Trendane is. So now the companies are starting to go, hey, we don't need this huge QA department, which is a pain in the ass, and we have to listen to these people complain about us all the time because they feel entitled to fix our game. Instead, let's let the public pay us, and half of them won't report the bugs anyway, and the other half will just probably send 1 or 2 bugs in, then we can get the game fixed up and get it ready.
Yeah, if I don't have a direct line to the developers like we do with Landmark, I'm not going to be paying that much.
Right.
Yeah, Landmark is a totally different animal because it's like they've shown again and again that even when they mess up, they're listening. Like they're listening to what we're saying has. I mean, look at that thread, the tree thread, like that had it got into the. I'm talking about so. The thread about chopping down trees by it was Voidlust, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And that one got in to the round table. Like they clearly saw it and they liked it. Like who knows if we'll actually see something like that in the game? But they definitely saw it and liked it. And it was one of those. That's crazy. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it is a difficult situation. I remember all the way back in the day, Domo, when we were talking about the prices for the different founders packs, and we were talking about the thing that kind of justified it for us buying the Trailblazer pack to get into the alpha was the fact that as players in that situation, we knew from what Sony had told us that we were going to be given the opportunity to have a big say in the direction of the development of the game. And I think, we've seen that's been very much the case. And in our small little community, people have really come to the fore, and a lot of people have given them a lot that they wouldn't have already. But there was still, they still had to come up with a way that they could fairly limit the number of people that they let in, and only let in people that they thought would be actually invested in the game. And I think, in terms of that, like putting up a paywall, it sucks for some people who, don't have that kind of disposable income, but it does put a lot of people off who aren't really bothered about, getting into the game and helping make the game something really good. It puts a lot of those people off, and it puts a lot of people who just bounce from beta to beta and go, "Oh, it's crap," and move on to the next thing. The plague of locusts you get moving through, moving through all different MMOs. And I think in the case of, is it Archage or Arcade?
Whichever way you funny British people speak, I don't care. You can say it however you like.
Yeah, that weird English language that we speak.
Funny stuff.
The thing with Arcade is like they needed. For the localization, it's more than just the language that they're changing. Like, they are changing facets of the game. Whereas there's things that come across very well and play to the East Asian market very well that do not play well in the US and Europe at all. So they are changing a lot of things, and they are looking at the way that the development went and shuffling things around. So it's not like they're just lifting it up and dropping it down. And they need to create a paywall. And I think what they've done is they've made a paywall that is very high. But they've put a lot of stuff in there that has kind of real value if you're invested to the point where you can say, like, I am intending to play this game for a long time after it's launched, and I want to be involved in saying, I like these features, I don't like these features. Like they say, I mean, they're listening in Arcade as well. Like the whole thing with the trial system and everything, there's been like some exploits of that happening, and they've picked up on them already, and they've said, yeah, we're doing it, we're looking into it, we're changing things and making it work for you. So it's not a cash grab from the company. Like these sales are like so small compared to what they can.
Which company you mean
though? From like Tryon, and like from SOE as well. Like the amount of money that they're going to make from these like founders packs and pre-order sales, it really is like compared to the amount of money they're gonna take over the life of the actual when the proper game comes out. It's not a massive amount of money, and I think how like what are you gonna make people apply to test? Then how do you gauge the applications? But
they've been doing that for years. I mean, we've all applied for beta tests for different games for a long time, and we just had to kind of wait and hope that we got in. Now this way is a guarantee way to get in. We pay to get in, but is it becoming too expensive? I mean, are they going too far with games like I said, Arcade? Okay, so you get a lot of goodies and stuff, and if you really are going to play Arcade and you really think this is a game for you, it's not such a bad price, because basically you're paying $30 over the value of the game to get it now, right? So
like you have a very good idea of what the game is going to be like. It's not like an unknown quantity. It's not like something on Steam Early Access, which is just completely unfinished from a developer you've never heard of, and like as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, may never actually be finished. It's something you can be pretty sure, like whether you're going to like it or not, whether you're excited about it. And ultimately, Total Biscuit always goes on about this with pre-orders and everything. It's our fault. Like it's us as consumers that have allowed this to happen. The developers aren't going to put something up for an amount of money that they know that no one's going to pay. Like they're just going for the market, and a lot of people get into. We see it all the time. Like it happened with Landmark, where people got in and was like, "Oh, I thought there was going to be like combat, and we were going to have like mobs and everything." It's like it's not finished. Like, and that's entirely.
But speaking to Ara's point,
that's the consumer's responsibility to know what it is that know what it is that their money's going on.
Yes,
isn't it?
It is, but if this is a game you're not going to play, is it not? I mean, we don't know that this is coming. We don't know that this is a game that we're going to want to play. So, are we going to want to dump $150 into it? Is it too much? Are we getting too high?
This is something that SOE got absolutely right when Smedley said, "If you don't like it, we'll give you your money back."
Okay.
Yeah,
just really simply, and that was
like, I get the idea of having a paywall, and that obviously $150 is a pretty tall paywall, and so people who do get in are then going to be really invested and, really want to see positive changes in the game, et cetera, et cetera. I get that, but I think that someone who pays $60 to $80 is probably at
as
least
invested,
almost as invested. They're
Right.
not; those are not your casual like. This looks kind of dip the toe in the water, just those are not those people. Like, I mean, if it gets down more to like 20, 40, 20, then okay, that's more of a casual, like, they may not be that invested. But, people who pay $60 or $80, they're still going to be invested. That's not going to, you're not going to like degrade your pool.
Do you want the people that aren't bothered by it though? Do you want people who are like, I might as well? Or do you want people who who care about the product and are willing to go the extra mile? So I was saying, like, how else do you get beta testers? You can apply for beta. You could lie. You could just lie completely. You could say that you beta tested every single game that came out since you.
I did say that when I applied. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You have.
Well,
but there's nothing stopping. There's nothing stopping like a 14-year-old kid.
From running that same thing, yeah.
They don't give a shit. They'll just check every box because they want to get in. Yes, I'm the leader of a 1,000-person multi-gaming clan, and I'm this and that and the other. So people just lie. It's not like it's a really difficult thing there, and it's something that personally, like, I'm very conflicted about.
Well, where do we draw the line, Locke? Because if it's going to be a game like an MMO that is a vast, massive game, even if there's one that's going to be free to play like Landmark or ArcAge, where do we draw the line? Because a game that's like a MOBA game, does it deserve to be $150? A game like Elite Dangerous, which is a space sim game, which is $300 to get into alpha. There's a Transformers game that's coming out that is $450. It's a MOBA game, Transformer game, and it's going to be $450 to get early access to that. Where do we draw the line? Where do we get to a point where we go, this is just too much? Like, they're raping us as consumers.
Well, we might not think.
It's up to the consumers. It's up to the consumers.
That's if we might not think that it's worth it, but then some of us paid $100 for Landmark.
I know.
So
I know I know a few people that would happily pay the amount that ArcAge's the amount that Alpha ArcAge, if they could get into an alpha version of the new FIFA that was coming out, they would pay that, and they would be super happy about that. And I'd be like, "You're an idiot. There's going to be a new one coming out next year. What are you going to do? You're going to pay 150 quid to play an unfinished product like every single year?" And they'd be like, "Oh, you don't understand, man." And I'd be like, I don't. You're obviously mad." But then they turn around and they look at me and they go, "Look, why do you even play that?" And I go, "Get out of my house." And that's how that conversation goes.
as long as people like the franchise, whatever that franchise is, and there's a market for it.
True. I mean, and Diggs just said they're not forcing us to play. Obviously, they're not forcing us to play. But if you're a hardcore EverQuest fan, let's use EverQuest. Let's use the Transformer thing. Say you guys are heavy. You love Michael Bay. He can do no wrong. He is Jesus incarnate and explosions. So when he is, the game is coming out, Transformer game, and you think it's just going to be amazing, you're probably going to figure out ways to come up with that $450 to get into that game, right? And is that just too much? You think it's too much?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, unless it comes with like a freaking diamond encrusted model of like a character, I don't know. Like,
maybe it does.
You know what? If it came with one of the original Optimus Prime Transformers,
yes, the collectible one, maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
But to have that as like now, I'm not familiar with that game in particular, so I don't know. Maybe if there's a cheaper package.
Yeah, I just heard about it.
Is there a cheaper package?
It probably. It's just like with the Orcs Must Die. Probably it has a couple different levels. Yeah.
Okay, because I mean, like, if that's your honestly, like the top end, I feel like I don't want to say sky's the limit, but someone will pay it. Someone will pay it because they're just like the most diehard fan of whatever franchise ever, right? And someone will pay it. But to have that as like your actual like. Yep, this is exactly how much you have to pay if you want to play this game at all right now. Like, that's retarded.
Well,
I don't see how 450 could possibly be the minimum. If it is, I don't even know.
450 is a lot, but let's look at another game which is in development, does not have its own publisher, that is completely 100% crowdfunded. That's Star Citizen. One of its top packs is $15,000, and it's sold out, which means that however many packs that they had, all of them are gone. And it wasn't one pack, it was several packs, at least 20, 30 packs. So somebody somewhere has that kind of money to dump into a game, obviously, and they want to be King Boogeyman or whatever on the hill.
I mean, there's
I think those are the organizations.
There's people out there with so much money that $450 is nothing to them. Like 400, if Bill Gates was walking down the street, if he dropped $450, like he probably wouldn't even bother bending over to pick it up.
Right.
But and there are people like that just walking around. Like you see them every day. So there's that happening. But I think it's totally case by case. I mean, like I was saying, with Landmark, it's like we got into it for our own specific reasons. With Archage, it's a very different situation, but because of the way that it's structured, what you actually get in the Landmark pack, in the Archage pack,
Archage, it's Landmark. No, it's not Landmark. It's Trailblazer.
Trailblazer. Yeah. What you get in the Archage patch, I would say was definitely worth more in terms of monetary value than what you get in the Trailblazer pack.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
I would actually agree with that.
Just the 3-month subscription, makes them much more even in terms of like money, real money, and then everything else that you get along with that, considering the way that the game is designed.
Well, we got 4 closed beta passes, and those are technically $20 each, right? So that's $80 of our Trailblazer pack.
Yep,
that's a good point. So then the Trailblazer pack only costs $20 if you look at it that way, Locke. But at the time when we bought it, it was only a week. They were only week-long keys.
Yeah, we didn't know.
They did open them up later on.
Yeah, but then is the beta access worth the full $20? And then that's what it is though. It comes down to it's fully down to like personal preference and like how much is this worth to you as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
I do think. To have some kind of obstacle for people to get in at such an early stage, because you don't want forums that aren't just dedicated to the game. Remember, there's a lot of public forums that a lot of people go on. You don't want Reddit. Exactly. You don't want floods of people going on Reddit who are completely uninformed and going, "Oh, I paid this much money for this game and it's totally broken. Like there's nothing to do, and all of this is bugged and blah 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 blah." And then you try and like stem the tide and go, "No, it's not finished. It's not finished," and they don't care. People go, "I paid money for it, therefore it has to be perfect, or I'm not going to be happy." And then you go, "Have you ever played an MMO on launch day? Ever? Obviously not."
I also think, there's an element too of if you're paying. I would think that the more you pay, the more you sort of expect right out the gate. Like I personally, like if the bar to entry for Arcade, if I get into Arcade, I'd be like, well, this game better be pretty darn close because I just invested a lot of money in it, versus like, you know what I mean? Like it's to feel like you're getting your money. Then there's that element of feeling like you have to get your money's worth, which is completely conflicting with the idea of getting in with getting in early access in the first place. The whole point of early access is to help develop, or help test and develop the game. So it's sort of like, why would it just seems like such a weird conflict. Like, why add that? And like I said, I don't think to have quality testers. I don't think to have people who are invested and who give a crap. I don't think those people need to pay $150. I don't think you have to ask people to pay $150 to get those people. I think you can get away with a lot less. 60, 80, somewhere in there. Where it's maybe not casual change, but it's not friggin' gonna have an impact on whether or not you pay your rent on time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's total grey area though. It's so subjective. Some people are rich and some people are poor, and a lot of people play these games as teenagers who, they don't have jobs, they don't have their own money, and good luck convincing your parents that $150 is a good investment.
Yeah, exactly.
With a subscription as well. But
Skylar, crush them.
And then on the other hand, you get rich kids who don't understand that there's a limit to money, and they their parents just throw it at them, whatever. So. Class war. That's what I say.
That guy Craig is a good.
But the question is, do you guys think that it was worth buying the Trailblazer pack for Landmark? Are you happy
I
with
do.
your purchase?
Well, I like
I
the giveaways were good. I don't quite see the benefit yet of the trinkets. Like, I don't see the crafting one actually make procking more. You know what I mean? I've taken it off and I've made a bunch of stuff, and it seems like I'm getting exactly the same ratio of blues and greens. But the name in the game is cool, and the early access part is cool. And as a streamer, I like to think of myself that this is my job, so I would naturally want to get early access to a game that I could stream ahead of everybody else, that kind of thing. But for a general everyday person, I'm not so sure. I don't know. I'm still up on the fence about it. Go ahead.
I haven't I mean, people ask if it was worth a Trailblazer or whatever when we were doing alpha, and I was like, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're willing for a game to not be finished and you actually want to help development, then yeah, it's totally worth it, and that's fine. But it's not for everyone, and I think that's the whole crux of this conversation, is that the early access packs and the expensive ones in particular aren't for everyone. But Landmark, now that the closed beta passes went up to full time instead of 7 days, that made it worth it for me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I paid for the normal version of Elder Scrolls Online. That was a waste of money.
$60 down the drain.
That
Oh my God.
Really
How much was that, Skyla?
I don't know.
Like $100 or something?
It wasn't the deluxe or anything. It was just the normal one, but my God.
It was the worst.
But there's a bunch of games that I bought like that have just gone down the drain. Go ahead, Ari, you were going to say about your thoughts?
I'm happy with it. I mean, like, and I tell people ask on my channel all the time, like, hey, is it worth it for the Explorer pack or the Trailblazer pack? And I say, well, it depends on what you're into. If you don't give a crap about outfits, if you're not that fussed about where your claim is, because there is that, like, 2-day head start.
That is nice, yes.
For open beta. If you're not that fussed about it, if you're just like, well, I just want to be able to build and I don't really care where I am, or, if you don't care about outfits, you don't care about the, the title, if you don't care about, like, stuff like that, then... it may not be that big a deal for you. Although you do, and I'm sorry about the cat.
It's okay. She's very cute.
So, I mean, and there is the thing too of the extra inventory space. That's actually kind of nice because if you look, like, that actually has real money value.
Yeah.
It's in the cash shop. I think it's worth it, but it's not. I fully recognize that it's not going to be for everybody. It depends on if you're into that stuff. Plus, there is an element too of, like, I like the game enough that I'm totally, in sort of a Kickstarter kind of way, I am totally willing to shell in a little bit of extra just to see the development continue.
Save the kitty.
She's not very... Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's funny. The people in chat are like, save the kitty.
The air conditioning is broken, and so we have to have the door open, and so she doesn't, like, jump out to her death. We have to have her on a leash, which means she's she's in a harness right now. She's very unhappy with this.
Oh, yeah, I hear cats don't like that sort of thing.
Yeah, she's not a big fan.
All right. Well, do we want to go on and start talking about some actual Landmark stuff? Because we've just
we've
gone
been going on about this.
Sure.
But we totally solved the whole issue. So
yeah, there we go.
Good work, guys. Good work. I think we've done well here.
Yes.
All brand managers ever could just reference this video and be totally sad.
Omid said we should talk about this every other week.
Okay.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. You know that they have talked about this far more.
Oh yeah,
far more than we ever will.
And they have inside information too.
Being like, will people pay that? What if we put this in? If we put this in, is it going to ruin that kind of thing?
I think the $100 for the Trailblazer pack was not so bad. I think if Arcage was around that price, it would be a dead sell. That'd be boom. People would
way
jump
more
in.
palatable.
Yeah, the $50 for some reason, there's like that little ledge. It's just too much. It's just that too much.
Sticker shock.
It is.
Sticker shock is what it is.
And maybe not even so much for Arcade, but definitely for Orcs Must Die. So yes. So let's. I guess we can start talking about H2O. Do we want to start talking about that?
Yeah, let's have a conversation about.
Yeah, they added a thing in. We can just skip it.
They added a thing. A thing happened.
It's so cool though. I like it.
It looks so good. It looks really
beautiful.
I was not planning to move my claim, and I totally did. I was not planning at all.
I totally did. Well, because my claim I actually let lapse because I'd heard it was crashing so much, and I was like, I'm going to take a break from Landmark for a couple of days. And when I got back, my claim was gone. I'm like, oops. So I'm like, well, fine. It's a good point to move. So I packed up and moved all the way to a cliff on the edge of a beach, and it's just awesome. And I'm like, look at this. Like, I started building this big house with lots of windows, and I can look out over the ocean, and it's cool. Definitely something I'm waiting for.
Yeah, sort of fell in love again.
Yeah. So what'd you say, Sarah?
Oh, I don't even know what I'm going to do with mine.
Oh.
I'm just really excited to have it.
So we don't know yet when the real water will come, because this is...
We've moved on already.
Yeah.
What was it? When's
Well,
the
this-
next one?
that water's not good enough. We need to know when the real water's coming.
Yeah, nice try.
It was
I've
beautiful.
said it before, but I'll say it again now. I really appreciate the attitude of giving features to players, and knowing that they're not finished, knowing they're not in their final form, knowing that, and crediting players with enough intelligence to be like, calm your nuts, it's going to be done, it'll be okay. Like, don't, without crediting them with enough intelligence to recognize, okay, this is not, like, it's going to be okay, we just need to be patient, it'll happen.
They put a lot of faith in us in that regard, yeah.
Versus, like, just, I mean, some games where it's like they want to, hold back a feature until, like, they've shined everybody's shoes, it seems like. Where it's just like, where every single thing is done, and it's just a different perspective, I guess. But I really like that we've been able to try it, even though it's not, like, certainly there's quite a bit more to do there.
Well, the whole Jesus thing is annoying. Because I wanted to go down into I started digging up a hole right next to the edge of the ocean. I was like, let's see if this water will do exactly what it did in Planet Explorers. If you dig a hole on the beach at Planet Explorers, the water flows into the hole you made. So I was like, let's try that. And it did. I was like, yes. And so we dig a little bit farther back. Maybe I can make like a cave here. And because I couldn't go under the water, I was sort of trapped in between the rock and the water, and I couldn't get out, and it was a pain in the ass. So I had to like escape to surface. But so that's kind of annoying. And then there's a couple places that you can fall through. Like on the edge where I was, Madman Moose was out there with me today, and he literally fell through. And like you just the water just appears to be just a surface element right now, and doesn't have any real depth or whatever to it.
Yeah, sometimes the squares desync from each other, so you can see all the way under, and that's funny. But I understand. Like, I'm not complaining about it. I understand what the deal is, but
We're watching the world being built before our eyes.
I think it's a fascinating process to watch. Like Ara was saying, normally it's like these things go through so much R&D and so much testing and everything until they finally get to the point where they think, okay, this is ready now and this is what we're going to give it to the players. But the difference in a development cycle like this is they're showing it to us now at this point, and we can start saying from this early, this is how we would like it to be. This is how we'd like to be able to interact with it. And then as they move forward with the R&D on what they're doing, which is already it's a technological achievement to begin with. It's something new, and it was a huge amount of effort on their part to get it to where it is now. But it's part of the early access thing, isn't it? And they've done it so well in that we can still have an effect on the direction that it goes in. I think it's amazing. It's beautiful. The animation's incredible. The lighting is so good. It's the things I always talk about in this game that they're so good, and it looks really, in my opinion, it looks better than any other MMO. Like, mileage may vary as opposed to what kind of art style you prefer, but I think if you look at the things that are really important, the way that it moves, the way that the light plays on it, the way it fits into the world, and like all the different biomes as well, like it just adds something. It feels very unique because of the different kind of texture of the air, and the way that works, the way the light moves through it. It's an incredible thing.
My favorite by far was
Oops, locked. Your ears.
Yes.
We're feeding back through your mic.
feeding back.
I'm terribly
okay.
sorry.
Say something. Hello.
Okay.
So
my favorite part was just that if you look at in say the deeper parts, you look at it and it looks blue and beautiful, right? But then if you look towards the shore, it looks transparent. You can see the sand completely through. And it's just an angle thing / like a depth thing. And that by itself, I don't even know how that what mechanic or whatever deals with that. But I was just like, oh, it looks so cool, Like, it's sort of it's like, I didn't know I wanted that, but I did, I don't know. I like
Okay. I guess we stopped. All right, so Let's see, a few more minutes and we'll get started with our Q&A session. What was the other thing we were going to talk about tonight, Locke? You were saying...
Oh God, stuff and junk.
And words.
Building an EQ next.
Oh, building an EQ. Yes, that's right. So that was in the round
table.
Okay, so would you like to fill us in on it?
My personal hero, Mr. Jeff Butler, was on the roundtable response video this week talking about ways that they're thinking about implementing building in EQ Next. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was interesting that they were saying, they want to move over some of the landmark tools to allow players to build in a similar manner in EQ Next. And I just thought, with how hardcore they're going on this competition and the first competition, which we should probably mention as well. There was a competition.
Oh, that whole thing.
How hardcore. And they're being, like a lot of people here probably saw Omi tweeting about it, just being very like, if it's not good enough, it's not good enough, and it's not getting in. It's not getting in. And that's in Landmark, in the game where everyone can build all the time, and now like but in EQ Next, like, it seems strange that the attitude is, just build what you want, fine. But then they were talking about the competition entries of things that are going to be in EQ Next. I think it was one of the things that annoyed me when they first started talking about it, and people were going, oh, so it's a way to build your own house or your own guild hall for EQ Next, and I'm like, you're thinking so small. you're thinking so small, and like, oh God, who was it on Twitter? An amazing builder who tweets a lot, but they spent 20 hours like building this huge, enormous castle that looked incredible, and that was like one person for 20 hours. So then you think, what can 500 people do with 100 hours?
Once you get these tools down, it's not that hard.
Kind of the scale.
To build massive... I mean, today, just on my stream for about 3 hours, I built an entire house with a bunch of nice decorations and glass windows and everything. I mean, so... that is easily done.
Omid says he was on the roundtable response video as well.
Oh,
I don't remember him. Remember him. He tends to fade into the background. He has no presence at all.
No presence on camera. Ara,
Yes?
you're gorgeous.
You look like a human again.
Yes.
Hey, she's back.
She's back.
Wait, I mean, my security.
Yes, there's your social security number. I can see it now.
Crap!
Stompy says that was hardly a house. Oh, come on, Stompy. That was good for me.
Was it just a box?
I mean, what do you guys think? Like, what do you think in terms of like being able to have land in EQ Next and being able to build on it? Like, what's a good way to implement that in a sandbox style MMO?
Well, you can do it in Arcade. I mean, right?
I was trying to avoid.
I mean, that's a good example. I mean, you can build that, but they're cookie cutter houses. You buy the pattern, you get the materials, you drop it down, it's built. So you don't really have any interaction with it other than the fact that you can put it where you want it.
Well, the thing about that I'm a big fan of. Sorry, Ara, go on.
I was just gonna say, if you're giving people the freedom to build what they want, I would hope. I mean, I would hope that it would certainly be in areas where that's to be expected, in towns or whatever, or a plot area of plots or whatever you want to call it, rather than just like you're doing your thing, you're questing, and you're like, oh, what is this? And you're sort of, oh, okay, like there's going to be some stuff that's going to be really fantastic that you're going to be like, whoa, that's amazing, and it's going to fit perfectly in, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that doesn't. And so to have that just kind of popping at you wherever you are, I think, or potentially popping at you wherever you are, I think that would be a little, not just immersion breaking, but kind of more than immersion breaking in the sense of it would sort of give you an entirely different feel from the game versus, because at that point it's not even, I just feel like it would be better to have it concentrated, like into, maybe some little, you've got some little town limit, with a big wall around it, and then you can build inside there, with little plots and stuff, but not outside.
Skylar, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Landbox.
Landbox.
What?
Ooh, that's a cool one.
What?
No, we get that copyrighted real quick.
Landbox. EQ Next is going to be sandbox, and that's awesome, but there have to be some limits, and allowing players to build, even if they're restricting our building styles to work within the world of EQ Next, there have to be some limits as to where we can do that sort of thing. So I'm excited that they finally talked about EverQuest Next in terms of building, because that's going to be huge. But yeah, plots or I'm really, really hoping we can build around cities and make it feel like a live place.
Yes.
Because I hope that it's not instanced, because I think instancing houses suck. It makes the world feel so more barren.
That's the old way to do it, and World of Warcraft is going that way with their garrison, right? So you're going to go to a certain place in Orgrimmar, walk through a special door, and all of a sudden you're in your house, which every other person's walking through that same exact door and going to their house. So instance houses are crap. Having the ability to customize your house is where I think it's the amazing part is, and maybe we can have it where we drop down a preset thing that's kind of fantasy looking, and we're allowed to tweak on it like you do in Landmark. Maybe you can put in your own props, and maybe you can build a little bit on it, but you can't go outside the certain extents of the shape and everything. And then that way it kind of keeps it within the size. What?
I was laughing at chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's definitely another way to go for it. I mean, go ahead, Locke.
Difficult. Sorry, I think the thing for me, like that I want to see is I would like if housing and things had a purpose and had a direct impact on gameplay. I think it's one thing to be able to like build a house and put it there and go, this is my house, and display things in it and have it as a very aesthetic thing. Like that's cool. That's a nice thing to have and like show off your achievements. And if it's non-instance and people can walk past and see something and go, oh, that's really cool, then that's all great. But if it has a real effect on gameplay, and we know, with the whole Storybricks thing, they talk about a lot, the fortunes of towns can rise and fall, and the fortunes of the non-player populations of those towns and in the surrounding areas, they can be genuinely affected by concentrations of players. So if you had a large concentration of, upwardly mobile, high disposable income players moving into, maybe they could all get together and go, you know what, we should all go and like into this dilapidated area where we can get this cheaper land and all like move in and like start spending money in the local area, and then it'll be a lot nicer, and we can hire guards to clear out the riffraff in the forest, and we can make a lot of money like developing things in this way and like selling it on. I hope that's the kind of thing that can happen in the game. So, be interesting to see if that's possible.
All right. Well, do we want to get started with our Q&A time?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do some Q&A about. All
right, remember, guys, just go ahead and start asking questions and put them in the brackets. Say question. We will do our best to answer. We're completely just shooting from the hip. But Omid happens to be in the audience, so any really tough questions we'll throw right at him.
And he must know.
Yes.
And he must know. He works for SOE.
He works for SOE. He knows all words.
Because they've decided everything. Like, everything's, like, totally, like down to the most minute detail.
He's got, a Rolodex
literally
thing.
Everything you've heard them say about the game, from SOE Live, like, it's all exactly the same. Nothing's changed. Nothing will change either. It's all totally...
And on everything they've ever said. I mean, Playable Llama's totally going to be in there. I mean, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. It's all totally locked
confirmed.
Down.
Yeah, exactly. All right, first question from Touchy Afro. Domo, you happy today? Absolutely.
Good question.
You look very moody in the corner. I'm just noticing this. You look very like...
Well, I'm going for the whole dark, brooding...
It's like It's like the Northern Renaissance kind of look of like this sort
of...
It's
got his sexy lighting on.
I do.
Yeah.
I guess I'm too lazy to get up and turn my light on, so I'll get it later maybe. Yeah, Locke.
It's the hat, though, because it looks sort of like an artist hat. Like, it's very, like...
No, it's just a Geico hat with a little Geico lizard on it.
But it's dark, though.
It is dark. With the beard and the glasses, I'm just like that dark, brooding... Exactly. Okay, from Shog. Any news about Storybricks and the questing thingy? Ooh. Questing thingy.
It will be
questing thingy. It will be there.
We will have it.
Will exist. Yeah.
It will exist.
Nothing new, though.
The main thing that seems to get missed about Storybricks was its original incarnation and its actual purpose is to create a system where players can operate as agents within a situation. So you have non-player characters and player characters, and everyone has a certain amount of agency to interact and affect affect what's happening backwards and forwards across that divide. So it's a system that allows players to interact with the world and have the world react to them in a way that hasn't really been done before. So that was the main original kind of goal of it. So, I mean, if you think about an MMO, if you think about walking into a city in an MMO and having an interaction with a character in that city and having that interaction actually have some sort of lasting impact on the world, they don't just reset, or they don't carry on walking around the same path over and over again. It's like you know, through your interactions with the world, you know, you can have like a genuine impact. And obviously the players as a group and the NPCs as a group, like everyone has that kind of agency. So that's really what it's about. And I'm very excited about it.
Cool. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat because I noticed that it hadn't moved in 5 minutes. Nobody said a single word.
Wow, everyone is so engrossed in what
No, I
we're
think
talking.
that it's Twitch chat's been really screwed up lately. I don't know if you guys have been noticing while you're streaming, but it's just like flaking out. Like, so I just got a notification that somebody said something in my channel about me, because you know the little thing pops up saying Geekdomo, somebody said something in your channel, and there is nothing there. I mean, so either people are typing and I just can't see it, or there's some kind of magic going on. I don't know. Whatever. Sorry, everybody, if you're typing in chat. I apologize. You can't see a thing.
It's just that they're saying that the overlay, I think they're saying that it's stuck in the stream thing, like the chat is moving.
No,
like,
on my screen it's not even moving. I can refresh.
I see the regular chat, but it's not moving in your...
Okay, well, on my screen, it's literally frozen. That's why I just typed test, and it showed up. But if you
it did show up.
Well, you saw my test show up, which is weird, because that means other people have been typing. Let me see.
It's saying it's literally frozen just makes me think of the movie Frozen.
Oh.
Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
No.
Can you sing the theme song to it, Locke? I really think it's a good song.
Skylar, what is your beef with Frozen?
I don't know.
Why do you hate magic, Skylar?
I don't know. I haven't liked Disney movies for a while. I don't know. I just think that they're doing really not good on story stuff, and also it's. Shut up with the song. Just stop.
It's a song about girls growing up and going through all this stuff. The teenage girl angst.
Oh, it's a song about the X-Men.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah.
When they discover their powers.
Yeah.
Which is an allegory for realizing that you're homosexual.
Actually, Morgan just says they made a change last night that cracks down on the concurrent IP connections to fight viewer bots. Yeah, I'm dropping that, Locke. Yeah, dropping it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
I think it's funny.
Yeah, I fell asleep during Frozen.
Did you? I kind of might have as well. All right. So next question. Where do I get elemental Ethereum from Mr. Stompy? From your house?
Yeah.
I have some in the back. That's why we had to censor it.
It's streamers actually get priority access to Ethereum.
That's one of the streamer perks. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
We just get given all kinds of stuff, just constantly.
I know, it's so unfair too.
I got a car the other day. They shipped a car from California all the way to England. Just gave me it. No reason.
One of those Fiskars.
Yeah, no reason at all.
Was it on the wrong? Was the wheel on the wrong side, Locke?
Yeah.
It was, yeah. So I sent it right back. Refused to sign for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the shipping must have just been horrible.
Frankly, I'm insulted. It's no, it's no coincidence that was the day that I bought the Archage Founders Pack.
Yeah, and needed the money.
Just saying, same day.
Amit says it only comes in feathers and bottles.
Smack Mickey, I don't know if I can ask this question. It seems completely inappropriate, and I'm not quite sure I understand what it means, so I think we'll skip that one.
It's in regards to our earlier conversation.
Yes, but what does the first 4 words mean?
I think he's just using gratuitous cussing for funsies.
Funsies.
Oh, did someone say swear words on the internet?
I don't care if they put the swear words, but I don't know what it means in reference, and I'm hoping it's not referring to you, Locke, because
I think
it's not.
I think we did thoroughly answer that question though beforehand. So
yeah, we're good.
Okay, next question. This is from Song Hunter. With a new wave of pretty interesting AAA Studio F free-to-play and subscription optional games coming this year, what do you think is going to happen to pay-to-play games?
I think they will still exist. Some people prefer, working for TTH, I know this, a lot of our readers still prefer pay-to-play games. They just don't like the feeling of free-to-play games. So I think that it'll still exist because there's still going to be a market.
There is, from a lot of people have a huge resistance. Like if you watch, there's a lot of WildStar official streams going on at the moment. Whenever they bring up the payment model, like it's just walls of people going, "Oh, I hate free-to-play." You know, it's just like really... People get mad. People get mad about it. Honestly, like I don't care. Like as long as it feels fair. But I think it's going to be extremely difficult in the future to justify. Like you look at ESO that's just come out. They've asked for a lot of money for the box and then a subscription as well. How can they possibly justify that with the quality?
Yeah.
That we are saying.
It seems like
question,
a money grab.
Like, how can you justify spending that? And the thing that like so many of them end up going free to play anyway. They start and they go, oh yeah, the sub model. People love, there's still people that love the sub model, and it's the best thing. It's the best thing for our game. For our game, it's the best thing. And then they go free to play anyway, and you go, oh, so is your game rubbish now that it's free to play? Probably, because it wasn't designed to be, but you still want to make money out of it.
You really have to sell it.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think with so many good free-to-play options on the market now, like with so many, like I feel like free-to-play's come a long way. Like where it started, it seemed a little sketchy, and now it's pretty, like there are a lot of very good games, very solid games that are free-to-play. And so now I think especially if you both buy the box and then have a sub, I think you have to really have a stellar game out the door for it to really compete with to compete with the free to play options. Because and now I do like I have a couple friends who like will not do free to play because they're like, well, every time I do, I end up spending way more money on
that is true. There's been studies that prove that you will pay more microtransactions every month than you will on a subscription model.
Although my beef is with like games that do both this, like you buy the game, then you pay a sub, and then they've also got microtransactions on top of that.
Well, which is what ESO is doing, right? Isn't ESO doing that?
Yeah, I mean, even
someone's just killed it in chat though.
What?
Captain Aroma says EVE Online couldn't exist without a sub. MOBAs couldn't exist without free to play. And I think that's it, isn't it? Because EVE's obviously a very niche game. It's a very popular game, but it's a very niche title.
It's a horrible game. And I hope it dies in a fire. I hope it dies in a fire. Skylar, Ara, you're going to have to give me like a lesson or something, because I just spent 3 hours of the day smashing my face into my keyboard, wishing to God I had not. Eve. Yeah.
What were you flying?
The tutorial.
The tutorial was kicking my ass so badly. I couldn't figure out where
flying?
Buttons and stuff with words.
What was your ship?
A little round thing with a little fire coming out the back.
Fire should not be coming out the back. That means it's dying.
No, it was bad. I don't know what to do. Yeah, it was really bad. So I'm gonna never touch that again and hope that it never existed in my life.
I had a good time in it until I got penalized for not logging online for a day with a fragging quest I had. I was like, nope. If I have to log in every day, then screw you.
No, that's what you have to do in EVE. Don't you have to log in every day to do your?
No. Well, I had a quest, and I got penalized.
No! I played this game for years. I can tell you, no, you don't have to log in every day.
But if I have a quest, and I haven't completed it, and I log in 3 days later, and it's penalized my experience with X faction, then I'm not going to play anymore.
Evil.
You could have just turned it in. Or not accepted it.
But I didn't know. It wasn't clear.
But you won't do it again, will you?
No, because I won't play again.
Exactly. I didn't know that I could even log off the game, or how to log off the game. It was so bad.
I'd say that's
it's not bad. It's a wonderful game.
I think if people feel like they've put effort in and they deserve something, and then the game turns around and goes, "Oh no, you're not getting that anymore." I think that's a quit point for a lot of people, but it's also part of the philosophy of EVE that makes EVE such a great game. So and that kind of swings and roundabouts things. Like, Eve Online exists because of its its core subscribers. It does have a very good retention rate. Compared to other MMOs. So they're doing something right, and I think
it's still growing after how many years? After a decade, it's still growing.
It's fun. It's just not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. But it's one of those games.
Camelot Chained is coming out, and that's a similar thing where they're saying we're aiming at a very small target market, which is why we're going for subscription, because we need to know like how much money we're going to get in. We don't have. It's not League of Legends where there's like 100 million people paying $1 a month. If you've only got like less than 100,000 people playing your game to begin with, $1 a month's not going to go very far for them.
I would say this, like the difference, the core, or one of the core differences between Eve and many other games is that with most games, if you if another player does something to you that you perceive as unfair, a GM will almost always side with you and be like, oh yeah, like they should be warned, or they should be whatever. And the other player that did something unfair will probably get some sort of they'll see some sort of punishment or whatever. Eve, it's just like, well, you won't do that again, will you? It's just like, you won't make that mistake twice. It's like, where the scams are legit. Just don't do it. Like, like you can scam people, you can do whatever, but
HGFU.
But it's your fault if you fall for it, just like real life. But like, but yeah, that's not gonna appeal to everybody for sure.
Oops.
But I will say this, Domo: if you don't appreciate an Eve, I'm pretty sure Star Citizen's going to have a similar model when it comes to heartlessness. Yes, it is.
No, it's not the heartlessness. It is an interface that was designed by Europeans that are too hip for their own good. That's the problem I had with the entire game. It's like trying to figure out. There's like shit everywhere around this. I wanted. Yes.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Norwegians. Like no.
Norwegian. Icelandic.
Yeah, whatever the hell they are, they're from up there.
Icelandic.
So anyway, it's like
Europe.
Okay.
What's up?
DayZ, an amazing game. DayZ, no buttons. Okay. Like give me some other games that have no buttons at all. Outlast, no buttons.
If you're complaining about the fact, it's like playing a spreadsheet.
Yeah, and not knowing where to go next to the spreadsheet was the hard part, because I'm like, okay. Yeah, you can't fly your ship. We're like in Star Citizen, I've got a joystick, I can fly my ship around, I can blow stuff up. With this one, I had to there was a ship flying around me in circles, and I couldn't click it fast enough to try to make the thing lock on. And then somebody's like, well, you got to go up to the upper right-hand corner, select it from the drop-down menu, then open up the other tab, and then once you've done that, you have to type in a special key code and enter your mother's birthday, and then it'll start locking on the other ship. And I was like, fuck! So I was like trying to do this.
Should we move on? Should we move on from me?
No, this is great. I'm not. Like I said, it's not.
Can justify subscriptions.
Yes,
but I think the big games that are going to have millions of players from day one, I don't know what they can do anymore to really justify a subscription beyond people will pay it. So we're going to do it.
Let me say this: it's a great game. A lot of people like it. I just don't. That's all.
You're a great game.
I am. Watching me have a heart attack. That's what it was. Good game. Okay, moving on then. Real quick, Omid, could you please check chat or Skype chat? I tried to jump in a while ago, but I didn't get a chance to say anything. So, where were we now? I just totally lost where our questions were.
The bunnies.
The bunnies. Looking for the bunnies. Why can't I equip? Yeah. Oh no! Wait a second. Wait.
It was did they have the same refund policies as SOE for Arcade?
Oh, okay. Well, it's okay. You already asked it. Shagu said, "Did they have the same refund?" Okay. I don't know. I have what refund policies? Like you could get the money back? I don't know.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Like for example, like with Landmark, if your computer just can't straight up play it, or you just like you can get your money back. Like you can. I wonder if Arcade is the same.
I'm sure they probably are.
Don't know. You'd have to look it up on the website.
Yeah. Use the internet.
This is about Landmark. Goddammit!
Yeah, I don't know.
Expect us to know anything about any other topics
ever. Should EQN have?
Tobred, read the question. Oh,
he's not here. He's in the audience though. He was sleeping in, I guess. Yeah. Bastard. Should EQN have early access? Will that ruin the story with streamers streaming it?
Nope. different things will
No.
happen.
Yeah, since different events are triggered in different ways, I don't think that it will ruin the story at all. And yes, it should have early access, and no, it should not be NDA protected.
Right.
And besides, if you're the kind of person who really doesn't want the story ruined, then just
Don't watch the streamers.
Watch.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is as well, like in terms of getting the story ruined, like a lot of the story that's going to happen with EQN is going to be driven by the personalities that the devs give to certain NPCs, and also the resources that they give to those certain NPCs, and those are things that can be very changed through the game, or things that can happen very differently. If if a large guild, rolls into a server on day one and goes, "We're going to help this character," then the way that server turns out will be markedly different, not only to other servers, but if they went in again and did exactly the same thing, it could very well be that the world as a whole moves in a different way because of the way that other players interact with it. So I don't think there's going to be any big spoilers that we have to worry about. We'll probably learn who characters are, and but we've got the books for that anyway, so we'll know sort of generally what happened and how we got to where we were, and then after that, it's all part of the game. The way the story's been delivered, like we saw in the dev diary this week, it's all very much about, as a player, being part of the evolving story of the world. Where it's not so much that where you get to a certain point and then a cutscene happens and a character dies, and then that ends up on YouTube, and that's a big spoiler because you haven't got there yet. It's we're all going to be sort of part of the unfolding story of the world. So without players interacting with the world, then story does still happen because NPCs interact with each other. But god damn it, this is complicated. You've just got to go with me. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Real quick, we are starting a raffle. We're giving away looter anklets in a bottle. And so just type in ! ticket between 1 and 100, and then you'll get them. Okay. Next question. Oh, okay. What do you think about Elohim's $10,000 and $8,000 donation? Now, Elohim is doing something really good. It's not that Elohim got $10,000 for him to go buy himself a new yacht or go party. He instead just got back from St. Jude's Hospital for doing child cancer research, and the donators that donated those two amounts were donating the money for him to give to St. Jude's. So while that's a lot of money, it could easily come from a corporation that's going to write it off as a tax refund or whatever.
That's weird because I got a $9,000 personal donation the other day.
9,000 pennies.
No, I've never got any money for anything that I've ever done on the internet. because I've never done
I guess for the larger thing of people getting big donations, I think the people who are getting them usually have earned it. I mean, if people
those guys are huge, and they have been streaming nonstop for a year, so they're working their ass off to get that money. And while the donations were big, all of us that stream, we get donations. So it just helps us put the money back into the business, basically. Like when I get my donations, almost all of it goes right back into buying games and stuff like that to use for giveaways and things.
So.
If you've got a 5-figure income, then $8,000 or $10,000 is a hell of a lot of money. But if you're on a 7-figure income, which some of these people are, some of the people that are watching these streams, they've got more money than they know what to do with, and for someone like that to drop $10,000 on a charity, good. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah, and even if it was directly for him, then go him. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, someone really likes what he does, so
yeah.
Good. And if they want streaming to happen, they want we're still at a stage in streaming where large companies haven't really got their act together yet, to support people, in the way. But we'll see it more and more in the future. There's already corporate tie-ins, people sponsored by Razer and stuff. There'll be more of that in the future. People, as streaming gets bigger and bigger and streamers attract more and more people. It's the same thing that happened with YouTube. How many views is PewDiePie getting a day?
PewDiePie makes between $20,000 and $40,000 a day.
Well, I mean,
in money.
And that's the thing. That's just from views as well. So you think about
he's got deals with companies and advertising and all that. Yeah.
So, if we want to see this, new type of media grow, then we're going to have to support it. Even if it's just something as simple as like maybe, whitelisting a certain page on your ad block. So, like you can support a specific streamer that you like, or maybe, like maybe at Christmas sending someone $10 if you've watched them for more than 100 hours over the course of the year.
But there's other ways too, there's other ways you can do it. So real quick, I'm sure ours got the same kind of thing, and maybe Skylar does. I don't know if Locke does yet, but I'm affiliated with Amazon. I used to be in the top 100 Amazon reviewers, so I've had an Amazon affiliate link forever. And it basically, if you click on my link down below and you go to my Amazon page, and you buy anything in the next 24 hours, I get 4% of that. So that's the kind of things you can do to support streamers without ever having to dump $10,000 or $8,000 or whatever. Or the G2A thing. Have you signed up for that yet, Ara?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Okay. Go ahead.
I was
just gonna say on the similar topic. I was just sort of blown away. So on Tuesday, at one point, Domo, we had talked about getting Super Fancy Unicorn or doing a donate-a-thon like you had done for me for Super Fancy Unicorn's Blue Yeti mic. And so I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know when that's going to happen because I know there were format changes, and I was like, I don't know when we're going to be able to do that. And so I was just like, well, screw it. I'll just do it on my channel. And so I was like, okay, guys, like, let's donate. And it was supposed to be, for $100 for the mic, and that happened in like 15 minutes.
Right.
And then we just kept going. Like, we just kept, I was like, well, she probably needs like a stand and a boom and like, all that stuff. And then we got that like really quickly, and she's like, well, or she wasn't on there, but like, she didn't know. And
awesome.
so we were just like, well, she wanted some lights. So end of the day, we had raised like $1,011 because people care. Like, that was one of those, like, and that's not, like, no one who's donating is like super rich. Like, no one who's donating is like, this is I've paid my valet with this, like,
wipe my ass with it.
None of it. Yeah. It's none of it. It's just like people, it's funny. Like when you kind of, especially when it's like concentrated and people see each other doing it, it's funny how much you can kind of.
That's how I got my desk and my monitors recently.
Yeah, and like people, I think that's especially this community. Like, that people are awesome in that way. Like, if you give them a chance, I think people like. It was really heartwarming to see that, because it's just like. Like, if you're just starting up streaming, like, I think we've all witnessed where it can be an expensive endeavor, and to see people actually care enough, and actually give back is just so cool.
Yep, exactly. Speaking of which, this is totally, was not expecting to come even into this topic. This is a question from the audience, but there's something I want to bring up. We have a regular streamer that is here almost every single day watching myself. I know he watches Ara. His name is Mighty Moose, or Madman Moose 2. He goes by on here. He's just found out that his cancer has returned, and he has lymphomic cancer, which is a pretty nasty type of cancer. So we're going to start a fundraiser here at some point really soon, and we're going to start raising some money for Mr. Moose. So please don't do anything yet. We're going to figure out how we're going to do that, and then we'll get it going. So just wanted to mention it because he might even be in the audience watching tonight. So we'll get that going really soon for our buddy Moose. All right, next question. This is from Kodavos. Do you think an EQN will start with cities at all, or do you think they will just be rallying calls to get it all built up over there over time? Sort of like, I guess he's asking, like with the lore, how the lore was that we all left and went over to with the Combine, and now we've come back. Has everything been wiped out, and we're going to build all the cities from scratch, or is it something going to be there when we get there?
I think something will be there.
Something will be there?
To what
I don't think they're going to make us completely build cities.
I think, like, the sort of gist of the story, though, is like they want it to be quite sort of frontier experience, don't they? Like, they want the world to develop, and they want the world to sort of mature along with the game. So I think there'll be some things like we'll need some kind of player hub, and we'll need a logically defensible position or something. But I think there will be large sweeping changes to the game world as it goes on. So. But I think that I want to say there has to be kind of hubs throughout the world. If it's a reasonably large space, you can't, or can you? Can you expect players in a sandbox world to have to go out and create those kind of new fortified areas to then launch further into the wilderness of the world? And that's another way that you can. It's another way that you can create opportunities for branching stories and different servers. So it'd be an incredibly daring thing to do. But I think the general sort of gist of what they're saying, I think a lot of the world is going to be developed from the players, and I think the world will mature a lot from the start of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'd quite like that. I mean, would that be a good thing? What do you guys think? Would you like to see something like that?
I want to see something when we get in. I don't want it to be a completely barren landscape, but
well, maybe
I mean,
a lot of what do you call it, ruins or something, maybe.
Ruins would be fine. Even if we went through and built outposts, that I fully foresee that happening. But I want to see something when we first get in.
Yeah, I would. I would definitely. I would kind of feel weird if there wasn't something from like developer made, something like that, because even no matter what we build, like we're not going to have the same vision of what EverQuest is as they will, and so it's sort of going to be cool, I think, to see what they come up with, rather than just having it all be player built.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, though, isn't it? Because we know all players are starting in the same place. I think it'd be interesting. Like, I think it'd be interesting to see how the world could develop with the way that the game is. I think, or the way that the game is going to be in general, and what they've said. I think it could be, because it's not meant to be like a sort of populated landmass, is it? Like, it's meant to be everyone sort of left, and then now everyone's coming back again. Is that the gist of it? I'm not as up on the lore as I should be, but I'm sure someone in chat will correct me.
Just said that the way they said it is that the Combine has recently freed ex-slaves arrive on Amaryl with nothing but the clothes on their back. Quanos will be a frontier town, and like to see the Combine spread over the land due to realistic issues like flooded resources.
Be interesting. Get that sandbox in there. You know?
Yo.
Just spread out and just start building places.
That sandbox, yo. That's how it's going.
Let's see. Next question. If all of our resources are being taken away when open beta comes, why not just give us unlimited resources now? I haven't answered that, but if you guys want to, I mean, I think what I think is because they want to test out the systems of actually gathering and stuff. I mean, we're still beta testing, so they want to make sure that if they just gave us all the stuff, then it'd be like playing Minecraft in creative mode. It doesn't really serve a purpose other than just watching us build.
They wouldn't have as much retention either if they didn't make us harvest.
Right.
I think
the progression of getting your picks and your equipment and your workbenches and all that other stuff. I saw some people today complaining a lot about that. They're like, oh my god, I got to make another workbench and it's so much work. And I'm like, well, you also don't have to level to 90. So.
Well, I mean, people were kind of concerned about like, well, I have to do all my picks and stuff again. I was like, well, how long did it really take you? The answer is probably a couple of days.
Yeah.
That's not that big a deal,
Not
guys.
bad.
We can do it again. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It'll be totally different. I think, it's at the moment it's very much like we're just running about on the surface, and you're just finding the thing and going, oh, I'll have that, and going to the next ore vein and going, oh, I'll have that, oh, I'll have that, oh, I'll have that. Getting trees on the way past. So it's not an involved process at the moment, like actually acquiring the materials. In terms of like why don't they just give us infinite ones? It's because that wouldn't be productive for them. Like what would SOE get out of that? Like if they gave everyone everything, and then like Skylar said, your retention bottoms out because people. There's the thing, like when people get into the game, if you just give them a load of stuff, what happens? And we've seen this happen at like press events and stuff. And when people just sit down in a chair and they've got everything, what they tend to do is place a few blocks, and then place a few spheres, and then use the delete tool and the heal tool, and then pile some stuff up a bit, and then wander off, and like go run around. That's all they do. So it'd be a complete futile exercise. The reason why they don't do that. I can't really think of a way to explain it other than it'd ruin everything.
I think
anarchy.
Right now, I mean, obviously, it's the feel of progression right now is going to feel completely different from how it would at the beginning of open beta, because at that point there will be stuff in caves. We're going to have to go dig down, and that whole feeling just by itself. But then combat as well, and most likely, and just like it's going to make that have such a different feeling. It's not going to feel like just doing it all over again. And besides, they've also kind of mentioned too, like bringing down the requirements on, for example, like bringing down the for progression items like picks and stuff, bringing down the amounts of materials that they take. So especially if they're not particularly resource intensive.
It's like if you list the things that are gonna change as well by open beta, it's essentially the whole game. Like the way we move around the world is going to be different. The way that we gather things is going to be different. The way that we explore the world is going to be different. There's going to be danger and risk involved. Like grouping is going to be different. The way that like claims operate between players is going to be different. Like the game that we're playing now is a shell. It's a skeleton of something that will come later, and as those changes come in, like people will be annoyed about it as well. Like they'll put in the system that they actually want, they'll put that in the game, and people will complain. Like people will want to like hang on to these like unfinished things because that's what they're used to. But everything's going to change. The whole nature of the game is it's going to, like Ara says, it's going to feel very different very soon. Like changes are going to start coming very quickly. You look at that blueprint. There's big things coming in. And that's just like in the next few months as well. Like I don't even think is the AI system even on that list? Combat's right at the very end.
Combat's in July.
Like, the first bit, like post SOE Live, there's like even more stuff that's going to be game changing coming. So yeah, the reason they don't give us unlimited resources now is because it would be utterly pointless. that's the answer.
There's your answer.
It's the same reason, like too, like. Where people are like, whoa, if it's just going to all be wiped, why should I even bother playing? And it's like, to play the game.
Yeah.
Like, I know this is mind-blowing, but just like the act of playing is fun. If you don't enjoy it, that's because of the features that are currently out or whatever, then that's your thing, that's fine. But if you enjoyed it before, it's the same game right now. Just play the game. It's fine. It'll be okay. That's the point.
Oh god, I'm trying so hard not to get into the rewards rant. We've only got 40 minutes left.
You can cover it in 40
Don't
minutes.
do it. It's okay.
Moving on.
Moving swiftly.
Okay. Would it add to the game, meaning landmark, if we could vote on houses in the world, and if they got enough thumbs down, the house would be taken down until something better was built? And I think that's awful.
That's pretty negative, man. And you get trolling. You get trolled hard.
Yeah.
I know I would.
Some people can't build anything more than a box, but they're having fun. Why would you be a dick about that?
I think they're talking more about crab shacks, I think.
Experience. Well, they're talking about houses.
Now, hold on a second, Locke. I will have to say for a second, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I'm going to say that I have victory over our argument that we had months ago about thumbs up, thumbs down on the claims. Remember? I was a staunch supporter of just having thumbs up, and you told me that we need to have thumbs down because it's a perfect system, and I'm like, thumbs up works just as well.
Well, it doesn't.
It does.
And the question is,
they've implemented the system that you wanted, but the system is worse. So by getting what you want, you've made the game worse.
No, I haven't. No. Your system would have been worse.
Everyone here is lost because the inferior system has been adopted.
There does not need to be a thumbs down. Can you imagine? Like,
see?
If I don't have
Skylar's
any
on my
thumbs up,
side.
if I don't have any thumbs up, I'm like, okay, whatever. That's, I don't have any thumbs up. Oh, well. But if I go to my claim and I've got like 1 thumbs up and 40 thumbs down, I'm probably not going to come back.
Or being trolled really hard.
Yeah, I'm going to feel terrible. So no thumbs down. That's rude.
We're assuming a positive, sunshiny world. It's coming out of our ass, Lock. It's just, rainbows and sunshine.
I do think that
no, it'll be terrible. Do you want to know? Do you want to know why it's going to be terrible?
Why? Okay, go ahead. Tell us.
Stagnation. The people at the top of the list are incredibly good builders. The people at the top of the list will always be very good content creators. But anyone new coming into the game will have zero chance of getting to the top.
Or
I don't care about building competitions. I don't care who wins. Like whoever wins, it'll be really nice. That's great. What I care about is when I'm playing Landmark, when I'm looking for user-generated content within Landmark, I want a system that allows me and my friends to find the best stuff that we want to play. The system at the moment, there will be good stuff at the top. but it will always be the same. It will always be the same people. The same people are upvoting. You can see it already on the gallery. Like the top thing, the Darius Queen's Castle, brilliant, absolutely fantastic build. I couldn't do it in a million years.
Geek Girl just did
times as many votes.
She said the thumbs expire.
0 votes that, are, in my opinion, are at least worth half as many votes as that is. But the top one gets the most votes because it's already at the top.
So maybe if there was different sorting in the gallery, and it was random every time, and you couldn't sort it by votes.
But you can do it manually.
But then what's the point of voting? What's the point of voting if you can't sort it by votes?
I don't know, EP?
It's just another way I can't find anything good when I'm playing the game.
But
I can't find anything good that I
but,
haven't already seen months before.
But what Coda makes, right? I mean, his stuff is epic. So don't you want to go check out where Coda is? I mean, now that way you can sort and you go, okay, he's like number 1, so I'll just pick his thing and fly over to his place.
Yeah, but how do I find the people who I don't know? I know that Coda's great, and I really like his stuff.
Run around.
I like it as well. I think it's cool, but I want to find new. I want to be able to find new things.
Explore.
And the thing is, like all the people coming through.
I would like to see an entirely different system. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. But like, I don't think a thumbs down would necessarily help. I think it just needs to be different all the time.
Okay, like let's look at an example.
I say blow it all up.
Blow it up. Okay, Ara. Let's say everybody hates Ara. Okay, yeah. She's a streamer. She's popular, but there's a there's a troll community out there that hates her, or myself. Okay, I'm just saying.
Filmo versus Ara.
Yes. No. But okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's use that. My tribe hates Ara. Ara's termites hate me. Arabites. They hate me. So now what ends up happening? It turns into this shit fest where I say, okay, go over to Ara's claim and give her all these thumbs down, guys. And then everyone's going to go, Ara's going to go, yeah, go get Domo because he's pissing me off. So it turns into this whole thing where, you got large communities like that, you could destroy somebody's claim and they'll never get it. You know what I mean? So that's why I think the upvote thing is like, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah,
it doesn't make a difference, though. It doesn't make a difference. If you've got a large enough thing and that much power, then you can do it just with upvotes. If you can get it high enough up the list, it'll just keep going and keep going and keep going because those first 6 to 10 are the only ones people look at. And you can see it on the votes now. Like you look down at like 100 and you find all these brilliant builds, but they're people that aren't tweeting every day of what they've built that day. They're people that aren't interacting with people who have like platforms like Ara and Domo. Like the people who tweet you all the time and you retweet their stuff and you go and visit it on your claim, they get to the top and they get all the votes and they stay there. But the people who were just quietly making brilliant things. I don't know.
Paradox Moose got his rocket at number 1.
But okay, so I think what it is you don't necessarily have to have downvotes in order to deal with that. What it is we need a better sorting system, better algorithm, or whatever in the gallery. It doesn't have to be a question of upvotes versus downvotes. It doesn't have to be about that. It should be like just how they're displayed, because that's really where the issue is. Because then if they had a different sorting system, then you would still get to see the new content, the fresh stuff, the fresh good stuff that you're wanting to see, even if they're not from sort of the same building community that always gets the most upvotes. It's more of a thing of sorting than it is about down.
So treat it like a website. Treat it like.
What I'm saying.
Hold on.
I don't care if people are sad that they get down.
No. Just listen.
Honestly, that is ridiculous.
Hold on, I got a solution. Treat it like a website. You've got on the website. You go to a place and
that's how Reddit does it. That's
how
the
let me finish. Hold on. So you've got. Hold on. You've got where they have. On the one side, they've got top people, and on the right side, it's got random people, where it just pulls randomly from the list and just puts them on a highlighted spot, like a random highlighted thing, like you do in like if you go to Netflix. And on Netflix, you've got the movies. Why are we solving
problems that don't have to exist?
Because I'm helping Omid out. He's writing notes down right now.
If they implemented a system that was proven to be a better system, that was proven to work better than the system that they've implemented, why would they not just use the better system?
Why does downvotes automatically a better system?
Because it's mathematically better. It's been proven. Like they did it with Reddit. I'm not a mathematician, but like there is. Oh god, I linked the blog post a while ago on the official forums. I'll try and dig it out for you, but. Like I'm not a mathematician. I can't.
Oh, it's okay. I'm not good with math either, Locke. I'm not going to try to hold you to that. But no, I just think a solution like that might be good. That way, you're getting to see the top people. You get to see Coda. and you get to see all these other people at the top. But then right beside it,
stagnation is the issue. Like you look at Reddit. If you look at most upvoted on Reddit, it's always the people that got in there first. Always, like no matter what they said. Like if you don't comment in the first few minutes on popular posts, on posts that are going to have hundreds of comments, if you're not there in the first few minutes, you're going to be buried, and no one's ever going to see.
That's why I have all the people in the tribe. I say, go and please upvote my video. Not that I'm wanting to be the number one guy on Reddit. I say, please upvote my video just so it can get seen. Because
what about people that don't have your platform, Domo?
Then I will crush them.
That's fine for you. Like if you get like thousands of people watching.
I don't have thousands
for you. But what about someone who just like rolls into the game in a year and makes brilliant stuff? And we've been talking about the really good people. Like we've been talking about Voidless and Brad Power at that point for over a year of all the incredible, brilliant, really like worthwhile stuff that they're making. But how are we going to find the new people?
But that just has to be a sorting system, though.
Yeah.
Just the way that the results are displayed, because then, whether that's, I'm sure.
But how does the system know what's good? How does the system know what's good?
No. I'm sure there's a algorithm out there somewhere. Some mathematician has come up with this. I'm sure, who can, where it sorts by more recent upvotes or
Maka's got it.
or whatever. Yeah, decay system, exactly, that kind of stuff.
Which is on Reddit.
It doesn't have to be an issue of thumbs up, thumbs down. It doesn't have to be about that. It's just more of a display issue rather than where the score almost becomes arbitrary.
If people aren't getting votes to begin with, then the decay system is meaningless because the people with the most votes it decays. But if people are all the way at the bottom already, then
that's what I'm saying. My solution is to put them on the page in a random location. Just randomly pick people, even if they got a crap shack.
Then what's the point of having upvotes if it's random?
Because you put them both on the page. You got on one side, you've got the people that have the best votage, and the other side is the random people that just kind of picks up random people and shows you their claims. So you go, oh, wow, Cody did a great thing, but I already saw that.
What are the odds of it being good? How am I going to find things that are good if it's just random?
The other part of that is that's why it's such a good idea to go on the forums, promote your stuff, tweet your stuff to Dexella and Omid or
You're talking about downvotes being unfair, and now you're saying that people have to be able to market themselves effectively.
No,
for me,
I'm just
not
saying.
For them. This isn't about them.
This
isn't about people getting exposure. This isn't about people getting exposure. This is about me. When I play the game, I want to be able to find things that are good.
Mm-hmm.
But it is
I want to be able to find the best things.
If you see then that if for example, if the sorting system can identify, hey, this person got 6 new votes within a couple of hours because they just happened to post, and maybe only 6 people got to see it, but they got all these upvotes very quickly, and so we're going to shove them up there with towards the top. Okay, then you will be seeing that as, you luck are going to be seeing that, right? You luck will be, when you're looking for XYZ, we'll see that. I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be about the upvotes. It can be a sorting issue. That's what I'm getting at.
Yep. All right, moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Block, don't be so defeated.
When they change the system because it's crap, then we'll talk about it again.
Then you can say, I won. You can pat yourself on the back.
We'll all win. We'll all win.
No. It's okay. Let's move on. Let's see. The raffle. We're closing the raffle. Didn't it close? All right. Hold on a second. I'll close the raffle. We're going to do another raffle in just a second, so hang on, everybody. Next question. Is SOE Live the soft target for the beginning of open beta? What do you guys think about that?
Sounds like it.
I think it would be extremely wise of them to have open beta start before SOE Live.
Yeah, but with
really smart.
Looking at the blueprint, it's still not going to be, Landmark's not going to be close to feature complete by August. So they've said they want it to be feature complete by open beta. So maybe they'll have a rough date, but there's still a hell of a lot that's got to go in after August. So I don't think we'll be in a situation where at SOE Live they'll go, beta's now open, everyone's in, because it won't be finished.
No, I was concerned that AI wasn't going to be added until open beta, and I really think that needs to be a closed beta feature. But it feels like they're trying to hit open beta around SOE Live based on the blueprint, so I don't know.
Is it?
Dave mentioned something about open beta in conjunction with an item that was on the blueprint, and I would have to find the tweet again, and that's what's giving me that impression. So,
really, I thought they wanted to be sort of further along by the time. Maybe I'm mistaken, but.
I think that it's not necessarily with everything in its final form, like, combat and AI and such doesn't have to be in its final form, more just that it needs to be in, combat will have been there will be combat in a form, rather than just like, and there will be caves, there will be water, that's, all these things, versus like, they all need to be complete or anything, rather, Like
with the number of people. With the number of people that are going to flood open beta, it needs to be pretty polished, I think.
Pretty polished, yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be dead.
True.
But then how much is it worth them like polishing the game before it's, before the features are locked down, That's the issue, isn't it? I think it's a sliding scale, isn't it? Obviously, these things are never finished, and it is kind of, when are they going to be at a point where they feel like, anyone should be able to get into the game and just roll with it. So yeah, Mead whistles non-committal. I'm sure there'll be a big announcement. You know what they're like. There'll be.
So Mead pops in now, and he just totally ignored our other conversation.
How convenient.
Yeah, convenient, Mead. Thanks a lot, buddy. All right, how do I convince my friends that EQN won't end up like Guild Wars 2 in regards to a static world? This is right up Locke's alley. Come on, Locke. Tell us.
Don't bother. Don't tell them anything. Don't say anything to them about it at all. It's going to be free to play. Just let them play it. Let them get involved.
Don't
Honestly,
pitch it to
like
them?
if you start trying to tell them about the Storybrick system, if they're already like against it, they're not open to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get people all the time going, "I'll believe it when I see it." I'm like, "Yeah, good. Don't get hyped about it. Don't try and get them excited. Just let them experience it and see what they think for themselves." But honestly, like if you want to know, like there is the way that the game is being made, that it can't be like that. Like that's not the way the game works. Like there wouldn't be a way that could happen. Like the thing with Guild Wars 2, it's like they had the events, they call them dynamic events, but really it was just along a chain that went forwards and backwards. And I think, it was, for me personally, like it was a big step forward. And I think if they'd been able to implement it in the way that they wanted to, like I think they probably would have got more praise for it. But as it was, like they promised too much, they promised too much and people were disappointed, which is why I say now, if people don't believe that EQ Next is going to be different, then don't try and convince them. There's no point. It was just like the way that it's being made, like that can't happen. Like it would be weird if that happened.
And it's not. And Guild Wars 2 is just really static, but it can't. EverQuest Next is going to be completely dynamically set up. Don't you think?
Well, it has to be. Like there's no. Like it's I talk about it's the whole like going back to the core thing again, like I always talk about. It's a fundamental shift in the way that the game is being designed and the way that the world operates. Like in a normal MMO you have spawn points, and even in Guild Wars 2 things move around, but once the event triggers, certain things spawn in certain places at certain times. And then the event comes to its conclusion, and then it either goes one way or the other way. None of that can happen in EQ Next. The mobs can't spawn in particular places at certain times. Like it doesn't pick. Like it doesn't go. Okay, the event ended in this way. They killed enough things in a short enough time, so then this is the next thing that happens. That's just not the way that the game works. And that's you can tell them that, but don't try and convince them.
Don't try and convince them. All right.
Because you'll just annoy them, and you'll make them. They'll be there like this, go, no, I don't like it. They said it was going to be like that with Guild Wars 2. You'll turn them against it if you push them too hard.
And people who are, that's one of those. If you've got friends who are doubting, just wait to introduce them to it until it's free to play, and then just be like, just try it. There's no, you didn't pay any money. You don't have to be sad about the money you spent. Just try it, and then probably they'll like it. But that way, you're not trying to don't try to get them in early and then force it down their throats, and and then show it to them when it's not feature complete. And don't do that.
What say you, Skyla?
I was kind of talking to Locke about this the other day, actually, because there is a part of me that was jaded by Guild Wars 2. I had some high expectations for it, and their early testing, the people that they had testing just made them completely cannibalize the game. And I am concerned, little piece of me, that EQ Next is going to overhype what you can do with story bricks, and then it won't pan out the way that we want it to. Not to say that I'm not completely stoked about EverQuest Next and I'm like totally on the SOE hype train, but part of me is worried about that I'm telling these people all of these great things that are going to come, and that they're not going to come, and that's going to suck. So, it's a hard one. People have to find out for themselves.
Got it. You only get one chance to make a first impression.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. I feel you there, because I mean that's exactly what happened with me with Guild Wars 2, where I was thinking, oh my gosh, the way they presented it before release was very like, this is a complete game changer. We have completely remodeled the feel of an MMO. This is, everything is dynamic, everything is this, and you get in, and you're like. And you want to believe, and then you're like, wait, it's not. That's where it's like, okay, you've made some changes, and those are good. You could say those are good or bad changes, whatever. But it's not what you said it was, and that little bit, it wasn't what you said it was enough to be like, ugh, and then and so I would hate to see that happen again. But I mean, I believe. When it comes to EQ Next, I mean, I think it's just
I drank the Kool-Aid.
Don't hype what you don't have. Like, don't hype what you don't have. Just if you don't hype it, if it's not going to be, if it's not going to pan out that way.
I drank the Kool-Aid for Guild Wars 2. Matter of fact, so much so I made an entire channel on YouTube. If you want to look up Geekosaurus 2 on YouTube, I have about 150 videos of guides and everything, news reports, daily news. I was like so Guild Wars 2, and then after all that, I was like, I'm never doing that again. So if you notice, like on my channel, we do all kinds of video games now, because if I focus on a single one like that, it lets me down, and I don't want to go through that again, because I felt so let down. The reason I keep looking out my window, guys, is I think we're gonna wrap up real soon. We got this wicked like wind thunderstorm thing just moving in. All the trees outside my house are like shaking like crazy right now. So let's just do. We're gonna do We're gonna do a real quick. We're gonna do one more raffle giveaway for a thing. We'll answer one more question, then we're gonna have to wrap up, because it looks like I'm probably gonna lose power if this keeps getting worse.
Yeah, I had a tree blow over last night in my yard. So
it looks like that's what I'm saying. The trees are like doing this in my yard right now. So let's wrap it up real quick here. Let's see. Maybe from Morgan. Once currency is added to the game, how do you feel the player-run market should be implemented?
Oh God, I think I know things about this.
You think you know things?
I can't find the question.
I've had.
It's halfway down. 5:48 p.m. Sorry.
I was having a conversation with Mr. Georgeson about this, and I'm trying to remember what was definitely and what shouldn't really talk about.
It's going to make real estate near the Spire like really lucrative. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm sure they'll find ways to like spread it out. I imagine it'd be strange if they didn't have like items that were like player-run market stalls that you could put on claims, because obviously there's a huge. There'd be a huge market for like guild-run things, player services and stuff as well. I think, I'm hoping that eventually player communities will get together and sort of create their own hubs, if you like, on islands themselves with like certain services. I think it's extremely unlikely that we'll see like a universal auction house type thing that can be accessed from everywhere. I think it's a lot more likely that we'll see like localized auctions and things, so you'll be able to go bargain hunting. You might pay over the odds for stuff if you're not willing to look around, but that's part of the game, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of it is going to be about services as well, like crafting services as well as products. So I think that's going to mix it up a little bit. That's going to be something that you don't see very often anymore in MMO. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Okay. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. I just got a note that the 2 codes I gave out already didn't work. So Omid, if we could,
it's just gone power. They're not even codes. He's just smashing on the keyboard.
He's like, rolling his face at the keyboard, and there's. So we're going to give away this last key code, and then if they don't work, guys, let me know right away. You can't use them more than once, so I'm not worried that you guys are giving them away, but yeah. Well, maybe we have to get some better codes or something. All right, so real quick, let's go around the room. Skyla, tell us about yourself. What do you do? How are you related to the gaming industry, all that stuff, and then move on over to down the line.
I am Skylatron everywhere, Twitch, Twitter, all the things. I work for 10 Ton Hammer, doing their social media and marketing. So if you want to find me on 10 Ton Hammer streaming as well, that is 10 Ton Hammer Network.
You stream your own channel, right?
I do. Skylatron is my own channel. I play mostly MMOs, but today I allowed you guys to play Daylight with me.
How'd that go?
Lots of girly screams. It was pretty amazing.
Oops. Can you just in real quick in chat, go ahead and post, or you can put it in here, your channel, and I'll put it up here so everyone can hit the follow. Or just say something in chat, and then people can click your thing and hit follow. All right, Ara, tell us about yourself, please.
So I'm Era Gaming, and I stream here on Twitch. I do Landmark Monday through Thursday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon Pacific. And I do other games on the Monday through Wednesday evenings, so 6 to 9 p.m. But yeah, mostly streaming. And what? What
have you been playing lately?
So a lot of Landmark still, but also some Diablo, some Titanfall. Mm-hmm. I'm not so good at it.
Yeah, me either.
But we're hanging in there. I get saved a lot by lots of people, like Mechrier. He's awesome.
He saves your
butt. And they just saved my butt. Yeah, and also kind of branching out to YouTube as well. So if you go to my channel, you can hop through to my YouTube and Twitter and all that good stuff.
It's a natural extension if you're a streamer to have your stuff up on YouTube, because it's a great place to put it. Yeah.
Well, I don't really do the streams anymore just because they've gotten too long. It's just too laborious to kind of upload the whole stream. But I've been actually doing completely separate content for YouTube. Yeah, so it's completely fresh. I just did a video that's like, what is Landmark? Because how many times have we had this question of like people come in here and be like, is this next? Or like, is this, or like, what is this game? And so I've got a little 2-minute blurb of like, this is Landmark. Here's what it is. Here's what's coming. Here's how you get it. Yeah.
Perfect. That's a good idea. All right, Mr. Locke, tell us about your stuff.
Hello. I write a column for a website called Zam.com that goes up every Saturday. It's about Landmark and EQ Next and broader topics and things. And I occasionally make videos, and I occasionally stream, so you can follow me on Twitch if you like, and we can hang out and chat, and you can tell me why I'm wrong about stuff, and we'll have a good old discussion.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Ara, I didn't mention. Everybody hit the follow button for Ara. The Bearded Warriors are a bit broken right now. It used to be able you could follow all of us. Skyla, Locke, myself, Sarah, or Ara are all on the Bearded Warriors team, but for some reason they got rid of the follow all button. So you just go to the Bearded Warriors. It's up at the top of the page here on Twitch, and you can follow us just by clicking all the buttons if you want to. All right, go ahead and finish up, Locke. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That was basically it, to be honest. I'm not a very deep or interesting person. But yeah, come hang out and we'll talk about stuff.
Okay. I'm Geekdomo, pretty much streaming 7 days a week now. Playing all kinds of things. Anything that's new and exciting. Playing some arcade. Last couple of days we're playing some Outlast, which is scaring the crap out of me. I'm screaming like a little girl. Gonna be trying the new Whistleblower next week. Excited to do that. And of course we do our podcast Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night. So thanks everybody for coming. Sorry we're cutting a little short. It's like a freaking hurricane right now outside my house, so I think it's about time to wrap it up. And we'll see you all next week. So thanks for coming, everybody. Night-night. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Oh, and also any of the winners, if you had any problems with the codes, please let me know. Omid sent us another set. So, all right. Good night. Bye-bye.